Everybody gon' vote. Everybody gon' vote. Everybody gon' vote. Everybody gon' vote. Comrade! Labor right, them a go down, bang. Them a go down, bang. Them a go down. Is that? Margie, him a God picking. No hope their work if you touch Margie. Margie, him a God picking. No hope their work if you touch Margie. We now vote for Labour. Orange we a come out in now. If you love the PNP, who no step out for Marky G. Jamaica just come along with we. People time come, people time come, people time is up.
Only thing that's on my mind is who's gonna run this town tonight.
Yeah, I say that we are. Pledge your allegiance.
Who's gonna run this town tonight?
Yeah, I say that we are.
We gonna run this town.
Make the trumpets play. Make the trumpets play.
Don't do it. Don't you dare do it, yeah? Don't cut ties with Cuba because a certain set of persons I tell we say, I try to bad way up until we say what we can do. And you have to remember say, when sickness take on yai them, a Cuba send them people them to come heal with. A Cuba I send the doctors and nurses them to every single country in the Caribbean to make sure that we are provided the services that we cannot afford to provide in our own countries. Cuban doctors are top tier, and the best thing about it is they are getting paid. So what kind of trafficking you not talk about? I must say traffic light you must say I refer to, because it couldn't be Cuba was literally this with Jamaica from day one. Una gonna say una cut ties because certain set of persons don't even provide that medical care that we need in the Caribbean, like how Cuba just go out of them way. Cuba not even wink. Them not even wink them.
Why are we taking this risk to anger the United States of America? And the answer is this: we are not angering the United States of America. They are angering themselves. They are not going to tell me what relationship I have with Fidel Castro. We have that friendship with Cuba as part of a world alliance of third world nations that are fighting for justice for poor people in the world. And I tell you as the party leader, as long as this party is in power, we intend to walk through the world on our feet and not on our knees.
It's not too bad. Usually it's innocent until proven guilty, right? Well, with illicit enrichment, it's flipped. The prosecution just has to show that you have more money than you should based on your income. Then it's your job to prove you got it legally.
So it's like, okay, you've got a yacht, but you make minimum wage. Explain that.
Exactly. And in this case, the Integrity Commission thinks Mr. Holness hasn't adequately explained his wealth, so they think the FID needs to investigate.
This is serious stuff. So what does this all mean for Mr. Holness? What are the potential consequences?
We could be talking criminal charges, big fines, even jail time.
Jail time. The Prime Minister.
It's possible, especially if those tax fraud allegations are true.
Wow. And even if he doesn't go to jail, this is a disaster for his reputation.
Absolutely. It raises serious questions about his judgment and his commitment to ethical conduct.
It's a good reminder that no one, not even a prime minister, is above the law. This whole situation reminds me of that other scandal with...
You know what? You're right. It does seem to fit a pattern.
Exactly. But we'll save that for another deep dive. Speaking of murky dealings, let's talk about that $50 million loan from Burita Investments Limited. That's where things get really interesting. So Burita Investments Limited, they're the ones who gave Imperium that massive loan, right? $50 million.
That's the one. And the report makes it seem like Burita may have bent the rules a little to make it happen.
Okay, give me the details. What did Burita do that has the Integrity Commission's attention?
Well, for one, they accepted a mortgage document for a property that, according to official records, isn't even owned by Imperium.
That's a pretty big oversight. What else?
It gets better. Apparently, they also approved the loan based on a verbal agreement with Mr. Holness No paper trail, no formal documentation.
Now, I'm all for a good handshake deal, but not when you're talking about a $50 million loan to a company owned by the Prime Minister.
Exactly. And the Integrity Commission agrees. They're recommending that the Financial Services Commission, they regulate financial institutions in Jamaica, give Burita a thorough audit. They want to know if any laws were broken when they gave out that loan.
So now Burita might be in trouble too.
It's possible, and it just goes to show you this isn't just about one man's finances. This is a whole web of connections, powerful people, companies, even government agencies. Makes you wonder what else is out there.
It really highlights how important transparency and accountability are.
100%.
Yeah.
The Integrity Commission needs the power to investigate these things, to follow the money and hold people accountable.
Because if not, it's like, anything goes.
Exactly. And people lose trust in the whole system.
It's a reminder that no one's above the law, right?
Absolutely not.
Expert speaker, this has been fascinating. Thank you for breaking it all down for us.
Anytime.
And deep divers, we hope this has inspired you to keep asking tough questions, demand transparency, and hold those in power accountable. Until next time, keep diving deep.
He has always been committed to providing land and housing for the majority who were excluded from ownership and access. It was Norman Manley's administration in the 1950s which offered the first national land reform policy to provide land for shelter and farming to the broad masses of our people. This saw the construction of Harbour View and Mona Heights at very concessional prices in response to the demand for affordable housing units. Then in the 1970s, Housing Minister Anthony Spalding led an unprecedented assault on landlessness and undignified shelter, evidenced by the delivery of over 60,000 houses and parcels of land to the working class and the poor. Prime Minister Michael Manley then created the National Housing Trust to provide low-income mortgages, and it became the most transformational institution in the housing sector in Jamaica. After 1989, we oversaw the construction of thousands of housing units with the creation of Greater Portmore, financed under the San Jose Accord with Mexico and Venezuela. And between 1995 and 2002, the Most Honorable P.J. Patterson's administration advanced the process of land tenure to first-time landowners with the provision of 30,010 titles and 28,000 letters of possession. Nevertheless, Madam Speaker, some 700,000 parcels of land in Jamaica still have no registered title. And this undermines the financing of agriculture and indeed all rural development. It has contributed to persistent poverty over generations. The impediments are complex, structural, and rooted in our history. Madam Speaker, our response to this will have to be innovative, involving profound legislative and administrative changes. Under Dr. Peter Phillips, we developed a far-reaching set of legislative proposals that will, for the first time, comprehensively tackle the intractable issues of land titling for our people. In addition to these reforms to facilitate easier land titling, we are also committed to two programs. Firstly, a major thrust in building affordable housing, and secondly, a program for empowering the occupants of dilapidated housing stock in inner city and rural communities to upgrade their homes. As a matter of policy, Madam Speaker, Jamaica cannot only provide housing for upper income earners. Naturally, that is where the greater profit lies, and no one can blame a developer for seeking out that segment of the market. The government must therefore be the architect of creative and proactive policies that encourage developers to serve the chronically underserved segment of the market for low-income people. Our Shadow Minister of Finance has outlined what we have in mind for incentivizing developers to invest in building affordable housing for low-income earners. It will take a strategic approach by government in collaboration with the private sector. Madam Speaker, we are also to commence a program for persons living in deplorable housing conditions. We will empower them to fix their leaking roofs, to restore their walls that are crumbling or their floors that are rotten, and to build their own bathrooms if they don't have one. We will do this by assisting them with the purchase of materials while they make their own arrangements for the tradesmen and labor from within their communities. This program will facilitate the upgrading of the dilapidated housing stock in which too many Jamaicans now live. It will create a sense of achievement and progress in their lives and the comfort of better and more secure living conditions. It will also provide an economic stimulus in these communities, with local tradesmen, laborers and hardware merchants benefiting from the investment that the people will be making in upgrading their homes. Madam Speaker, it really does Jamaica little credit that many depressed areas were once stable communities which ennobled our nation in sports, culture and scholarship.
Was one of the comments that struck me. But the one that everybody is talking about now is when she was asked about the tax threshold, which over 3 years will go to 2 million, which amounts to 2,000 a month, and over 3 years, 72,000. And her, the two things she said. One, I get something I never expect. So now, by extension, you should be grateful. And two, she advised, she advised us what we could do with that extra $2,000.
She's not even a 72, she's a 74. She's not even that she get right.
So here's the thing. What does that suggest? That, you know what it tells me? Is that our politicians in general, our ministers in particular, are out of touch.
Today I want to talk to you about the importance of getting enumerated. Now, imagine looking around your constituency, your community, and identifying things that you want change, but you don't have a say in making those changes.
You could even buy a bicycle.
If you get registered to vote today, or before March 31st, you'll become eligible to vote by May 31st. So I want to implore you to get on the voters list, get registered, so that you can have a meaningful say in the changes that are effective.
Well, that can just be a mistake, but the intent is that...
No, man, that can't be a mistake. You work it out, I said $2,000, 36 months. So I get 74. And even went beyond, I pointed out to her. So when we said I go to the IMF and all of them places, to do all of them sophisticated cutthroat investors, how it work out?
As I said, if you're driving around in a big SUV tinted with extra suspension to ride over the pothole and so on, you're going to lose touch with the common man. I'm assuming she ever had a touch with the common man, given her background, which she alluded to a number of times in our budget presentation about front court and carrying water on our head and all of that.
72,000 can buy a car in Jamaica, no matter how you out of touch, man. We say, man, 72 grand can buy a, you know what you have Pro Box? 1.5 and 2 million. Even if you buy a second-hand car. Yeah. So come on, man. I'm joking, man. Joking. No matter how you out of touch. Something wrong with that. Something wrong with that. You can't run a country and run a constituency. So much taxi man in your constituency, I don't even know how much I'm car Pro Box a taxi man them drive. No, man. Something wrong with that, man. No, man. I'm joking, man. I'm joking, man. That is totally unbecoming.
Let me take a break and come back.